Hobbit house. So nice to see we're spread so far. Lincolnshire, UK, and born in Zimbabwe. Hi, Sally. Anyone else? I think, oh, hi, I see Johnny. I haven't seen your, hi, I haven't seen your typing your location, but you're in California. I'm going to out you as a Californian. Anyone else wants to speak their, no, type their location? One more minute before we will finish our welcoming. All right, so I will pass it on to you. Hugs from Indiana in the US. Hi, Deborah. All right. You can continue to type your locations. New York, wonderful. Hi, Robin. And I will bring the circle into your heart, Yael, where you can let us know what we are opening ourselves to.
Thank you, Diana, and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here and co-creating this circle of forms of peace, Rechem Shel Shalom, Raham Salam, with us. We do these circles inspired by indigenous traditional teachings that here in Alaska and in many other indigenous cultures, the elders tell us that when women come together in true sisterhood, connect to the womb inside and around, then we can collectively heal and take that energy beyond ourselves for a sacred container to be created so that something truly new could possibly be birthed into the world. They tell us that this must happen for humanity to have a future. And so we start with women who are wisdom keepers, the ones that you see spotlighted here. And they are helping us do that and create a feminine container of sisterhood and wisdom that has this feminine energy like the womb. And into that, any gender, whatever gender you are, we all started from that sacred feminine space. So we can begin to co-create once that container is formed. So this is what we ask, but we need all of you, not just the speakers, to really help that happen. And the way we do this is by deep listening, because even our speakers, when they're speaking, they are listening. That is the main action that they are taking. Words are simply coming out of their mouth or the mouth of, and you will see that often something that you think or feel, someone will say, maybe in a different word, but it's like they got you. They did. This is what these circles do. And so the way we listen, my internet is shaky, so I will go off cam. The way we listen as deep as the womb is guided by indigenous traditional guidelines that were handed down to us by our elder here in Alaska, Rita Blumenstein, who has worked with many other indigenous elders and found that these, what she calls talking circles, exist in many different traditions in different forms, but share the same guidelines, which she has gathered and has handed down to us. And the first guideline is that the host must read the guidelines before we begin, just like when you host a potluck or a meal, you set the table even if everyone knows where the forks are. So this is a talking circle in the sense that the circle does the talking. We are doing the listening. We ask that we all listen with the innocence of a child. Think of the first time you heard of something like a dragon or a platypus or a god. Before you formed an opinion, just listened to the story and let it land in your ears and heart. We ask to be respectful. This is a potluck of offerings. As you're listening, please be respectful, even if something does not nourish you, for it may be nourishing for others, as you do with dishes in a potluck. When sharing, we will ask that you share at the end after our speakers will have shared theirs. We will ask you to share in the chat box. So please, when sharing, respect yourself, your other selves, in the circle and beyond. Respect time and attention. And if you're not sure, just do not mention any names. We ask that we are all free from judgment, arguing, or planning. Do not plan your reply or your thought. Just let it come. Please come without agenda or titles or flags. Listen without trying to advertise or advise. Just listen. When speaking, we ask that there will be no cross-talking. Let the words come through you, not from you or for you. And everyone will be given a chance to share theirs, some of us by speaking and some of us by typing in the chat box. And you do not have to take that chance or that opportunity, for even if you do not share it verbally or with a word, you will still be heard. We ask to share when the words and the moment is ripe. If it isn't for you, you don't have to. And if someone else already said something you were talking about, then the circle has already spoken to that. No need to repeat. We ask that each one of us will share our truth through our own lived experiences, not something that we borrow from somewhere or someone or something that we heard, but something that we actually experienced, and respect the fact that different truths can be as valid, even though they may be opposing, like the lion and the deer in a chase. Think about each of their truths. Yet we can expand. This is also something we ask to expand and make room for different truths, even if it's uncomfortable. Just like when we are pregnant and we are often uncomfortable, but that is a way to make room for an other self and their truth, for something truly new to start existing in us and possibly beyond. And now is the time. In a talking circle, there's also confidentiality, but of course, this is live stream. So that is something that we do here. But we do ask that if you want to talk to someone about what happens here, you ask permission from them. Make sure that it is okay, because often what comes up here and now has a certain quality, has a certain sacredness that may not be suitable if you meet them outside, which may be no or yes. And now, if anyone has other suggestions to add or change these guidelines, now is the time to do so. Please unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. We're giving a few seconds for that. Thank you. And with that, we will open the circle. If you can please take us in.
Aloha mai kako. Greetings to each and every one of you from the island of Kauai. We're the northernmost inhabited island in the Hawaiian chain, and I send greetings and aloha to each and every one of you around the world. I can see Catherine, Deanne, Michelle, Celine, Angela. I'm on my phone. I'm at the beach. Aloha to Evangelia from Vienna. Oh my gosh, how incredible! I totally support this women of peace, women of the world. I am totally an advocate of communicating and sharing aloha and peace with each other, and that this is the way that we will settle our world problems, is to share aloha with each other. So I open with this chant that speaks of asking for those things that come from above, from below, from around us, from those things that are hidden and those things that are known. E ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e, o nā mea huna no i au, o nā mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e, o nā mea huna no i au. O nā mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. Let us understand the things that come from above, that come from below, that come from around us. Let us understand them and promote peace and aloha. Mahalo ke akua no na mea apau, a mama ua noa. My prayer is given. Thank you.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, Elder. And Diana, can you take us into the womb to connect to those in us and around us?
Trying to press the buttons to unmute, but here I am. Thank you, Kumsebra. Let's start with kindling the light as we always do, inside of us or out. Inviting us to close our eyes as we find the light, the flame within us. Let's breathe together, releasing everything that does not belong to this moment, taking in the freshness of a new moment in time, now. And placing one hand on our heart and the other on our womb, or if there is no womb in your body this time around, then both hands on your heart, and just breathing. We are here today to look at the language of creation, which is the language of the womb. The womb as creator has her own language. Rechem, Rachimu. Womb in Hebrew, Rechem means compassion. Rachimu in Aramaic means love. What is the language of the womb? The womb creates from nothing. There isn't a thing there yet before it is created. There is a void. Many creation stories start with the void. Allowing ourselves to delve into the void of the womb before creation begins. The womb in your body or the womb in the body of the mother from where you have come to this earth. Or the etheric womb, the placeholder energetically where your womb was if your womb was surgically removed. that place of void, of no thing, nothing, is a place where everything exists simultaneously. All that can be created, all that will be created, all potentiality exists there simultaneously, and nothing exists there at all. How can we delve into this place of all existing and nothing existing? Let's take a moment to try and be in that place of contradiction, this place of is and isn't in the same moment. And let's observe the need that our mind has to grasp onto something. What I'm going to create, what am I going to see, what of all endless possibilities and potentialities am I going to manifest? Letting that go, breathing that out. Can we be with the unknown for a little bit longer? Observing the need to grasp the known and letting it go through the exhale. In Hebrew, to know is to couple, to copulate, as in Adam who knew Eve. How can we be without and before, prior to all knowing? Before knowing began, when the vessel of the womb is only possibilities, no occurrences of any kind. And see if we can keep the openness of all possibilities during our day, emptying our minds at moments, emptying our wanting to have something concrete, and being open to all possibilities, like the womb is always. And with that openness, begin to return to this moment, with our eyes closed, realizing that this moment contains a lot of ease that surrounds us. There are objects, there are colors, there are people, there are thoughts. A lot of ease is flooding in. And while we return to this easiness, can we keep one chamber of our heart, the chamber of our womb, if we have one in our body, open to what isn't yet. While our consciousness returns little by little to feeling our body on the seat, feeling our sits bones, our feet on the ground, feeling the expansion of the breath in our body, wiggling our toes and our fingers, returning to this consciousness of this moment, while being still open to what isn't yet here. And when we are ready, allowing our eyes to gently open. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Diana. This was so rich. Wow, so much came in. I'm also originally from Israel, and so when Diana speaks of the Hebrew words, they resonate very deep. And I think it's one of the powers of language. And when Kumu Sabra was telling and also singing to us in her ancestral language, I think we can feel this resonance. And even though I know Diana's Hebrew language ever since I can remember, some things that you have said resonated as new to me in this moment. Like we all know that in the Jewish story, in the Abrahamic religions, the world was created with a word, right? God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Vayomer Elohim yehi or, vayhi or. But as you were speaking about this is and isn't, this knowing and unknowing, I felt how Adam, when he knew Eve and she conceived, he knew by touching the unknown, because we never know, even when a woman is pregnant, she doesn't know what is happening exactly in her womb. And as now in the US we have this Roe v. Wade, how do we decide what is or isn't in a place that, as Diana was describing and leading us into, is neither and both at the same time? How can we hold the knowing and unknowing, the is and the isn't? And how can we then go to the mind and try and decide and make laws and rules for something that is maybe beyond that? Anyway, so thank you for taking us to these places that we so often forget. And I see that our elder Iya has just joined us. We will let you settle in, Elder Iya. And Selene, I know you're in Peru and the internet might be shaky. So can we hear from you about creation, about language, about how language can create? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I am again grateful for being part of this sacred circle of women from around the world, and I want to pray or remember why we are reunited and how this happened, how the universe make this magic happen, having each other, having this beautiful group of women reunited for one reason, just to send our greetings, our best desires to each in this circle of light. And I want to bless you all in this circle with the passion, with the power of the word, of the coca leaf. The creation has a very important meaning in our culture, because we do believe that the creation has include one role for each of us. And every time we think about the creation, we consider ourselves as part of the nature. So we do really consider the plants, the animals, as part of our beings. And so we talk with the birds, we talk with the water. We assume that the mother water has an spirit, and the spirit is first for us, always is first. So in the moment of the creation, it has been a moment of love. So the moonlight, the love has been first upon everything. And we do consider without love, there is no creation, because there is a big love, a unique love, a primer love. This primer has made everything that exists in this world, Pachachay Apu Kontiki Wiracocha, has made possible for us to still alive and to appreciate that we are part of this nature. We are part of the plants. We are a little part of the water. We are just a little molecule in the middle of the infinite universe. And if we were created, we have to honor that by putting a purpose for our lives in this life. This purpose could be to protect one flower, to protect one plant, to protect dozens of animals, to provide foods for animals, as well as the Creator provides spiritual food for us every day and giving us a nice life full of beauty, full of compassion. Everywhere you see, you will see the love of the compassion and the beauty of the love. And that's why we do believe that Pachachaya Pukontiki Wiracocha, the big Lord Wiracocha, the maker, we call in Quechua, Pachachai Apu Kontiki Wiracocha, the maker, the big maker, is full of love. He is a Lord of love. And this love can put together everything in this world, can put together the enemies, can put together the human, besides the animals, besides other creatures in nature, and we all are part of just one thing, the powerful love, the munai, the love of the creation. It's the same when we do something with our hands, we put love on that. When we do create a new policy, people do flowers, other people do policies, other people produce things from nature. All this has an original point of starting, which is the love I do have. So Pachachaya Pukontiki Wiracocha means for us the love itself and the power of the love. And after the love, it comes everything. But first is the love. So the universal love is that thing that maintain us alive in this land, in this planet, and we can show some gratitude to that. We can feel the power of that love in our lives and keep it and remember if we are alive is because the universal love of Pachachai Viracocha, the creator, the power of the love. So I wish today, even if you are alone, you are in a couple, you are not in a couple, maybe you are living by yourself. I wish the Viracocha can expand the power of his love to all of us in this meeting, especially to the woman, to protect them, to make sure they are fully protected. They are out of the risk of being touched by the heat. And I wish all the women in this circle can feel this strong power of Viracocha giving us love. We can test this love through the power of creation. We are alive and we see flowers every day. And every day it erases the sun. And that is the power of Viracocha. And this is also a fact of love. I want to show my gratitude to Viracocha, the Father Creator, with this singing for all of you also. Kanung kanu kanu ra, kanung kanung ka, kanung kanung ka ra 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 ra. Sirenita canta rey rey rey, Sirenita igual, tu mayo ya 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 ya. Sirenitay, cierto seray, palomitay, niña chayay, cierto serás huy, cierto serás huyay. Thank you.
Supananchiskama. Thank you so much, Elder. As you were talking about protecting and being one with that which we love, suddenly I thought of the word procreating and how it's like being for creation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the things that come from our womb, but the things kind of like the bees that we touch and help produce or create more of. And often with love, it's an adventure, right? I mean, why do we have children where obviously we're going to have less money, less resources, more worries, yet we do that. We have children and we're not even going to be there, for them to see what happens at the end. Yet we take this adventure, or when we fall in love. Why would we fall in love? You could get so hurt. I'm sure all of us have been hurt by love, right? Yet we do it again. And so this reminder that in order to live, we need to love and we need to protect that which we love, and that we are protected by love because we are all here now. So, it may not be easy, but you're here and we are here together. And as Celine was reminding us, it's not to be taken for granted. And we often forget to be grateful because, it seems like it's, nothingness. And so it goes back to the talk of nothingness and everythingness. And Kum Sabra was reminding us about aloha and peace, and aloha and love and peace. I can really feel the connection between all of those. And Elder Ia, I'm wondering if you want to take it from here or if you want someone else to go next.
Where are we? I'm grateful to be here, and I'm good. I was with you when you came in. Sorry I showed up late, but as a question is, what's the question? What's the question on the book? What's our question for today?
Creation and language. Creation stories. What are we creating? What are we destroying with language and in other ways? What in you, in us, wants to be created? How do we know it?
Mm-hmm. What's been coming to me, and not just now, a story came to me today when I was thinking about it, and I didn't even know this question. I think I knew it. I thought back to a time, a movie that I saw was by the Algerian War, and these women, there was war, great war was going on. And these women got together and all they did was chanted this creation chant and brought down the wall. I think about the women in Rwanda, I think Africa, that the boys was slaying their mothers and their sisters and everybody, and these women came together and they remembered to you probably know that. I wish I could think of the story because there's a movie that was created, and it's more in our time that this was created. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes, we hear
And
you
that
fine.
this
And I
is,
think the movie is called Pray the Devil Back to Hell. Is that the one?
yeah, praying the devil back to hell. And that when we understand the potency of creation, there's a part of me that think that we forget the potency of creation. And that creation itself, in creation itself, creation means creator, creating, constantly creating. And for me, I say that creation makes no mistake. So if I say creation makes no mistake, I have to say, well, where is the error in creation? The creation gives us free will. So the error lies within us, ourselves, when we forget that we are the co-creators with creation itself. And that creation doesn't deny us anything that we want to create, because creation only knows creation. Creation said, if you want to create war and want to experience war, let me show you. You go ahead, create war. But creation on the other side of that, creation said, well, what did you learn from the creation of your war? Have you learned how to walk back into yourself and choose another direction? That's what creation says to me. And so the language that we use, we beg, we play creation like Santa Claus, and we said, tell creation to do something that we already done to ourselves, either in our words or our deeds. And so I think now, as we stand at this threshold right now, that creation is asking us to look at how do we create out of our own words, out of the language that we use. That's why I feel that creation say, you say, I hate such and such today. Creation say, okay, you want more hate? I'm gonna give you more hate. Here's more hate. Here's more hate. Creation say, I want more love. Oh, well, you want more love? Oh, there's more love. But do I recognize that what I ask creation to give, that creation showing up in every moment of my life? In every moment of my life. But do I recognize creation itself? Have I taken creation and made her one-sided and made her like look from the right or the left and deny that she is a two-folded process and that she stands between these two polarities and she can make a choice? That I can choose to walk in this middle passage of life, or I can choose walk one-sided in life and not see me existing in all things. In all things. I exist in the water. I exist in the trees. I exist in the wind, everything. Can you get up and recognize me where I exist? Creation. Do you recognize me in the morning when you rise? What is the first thing that you recognize? Do you recognize me? Creation. And so, oh, I'm so grateful for these creative body, this mind, this opportunity to dream a new dream, to bring forth a new expression of my created expression in the world. And what would that look like? Oh my God, I can choose to love today. Creation. I can choose to meet that thing that I dislike today. Oh my God. This is, to me, these are opportunities always for us to show up in this co-created moment of creation, to remember. I say to my fellow elders and my fellow students and prodigy that we create ourselves, but we never pay attention to what we're creating. We are creating ourselves. Do we ever pause to say, what I will create today and what will I breathe out today? Will I notice the words that I use that create after themselves today? Because creation already laid the patterns that I need to follow. But can I honor that? Can I honor in the beginning is the word, and the word manifests as itself into material, solid foundation? Do I not create the same solid foundation today? To me, this is creation. So creation to me is like calling to us to honor that created spark that's within each of us. And to be able to breathe it in on a daily basis and catch ourselves when we're not being in that creative spark of love and acceptance. We want no more war? Then let's stop hating war. And look at where the war resides within ourselves. And we may be sparking the war, the very war that we want to stop. So we the mothers, we the breath of creation itself. So I ask us to breathe in that creative spark and breathe it out every day when we rise. If we can just remember, I am the co-creator with creation herself. And I too can change the dynamics of life. And if enough of us can place that in our hearts today as a creative spark and just live that spark, like that light, and imagine what that light is, and send that light out, and know that I am in the universe, and the universe is in me, and the universe lives in me, and I and the universe are one. And in this spark, I spread it out and send it out into the world, for you and I are one universal force. And we, in that spark, we can begin to change the world as it is. That's why the women that they got and they just say, are those women in that pray the devil back to hell? They just showed up and they prayed. They showed up in their authenticity to remember. And they was battling the worst of war. I can't imagine what it would be for a mother to witness her own son that want to take her life. I can't imagine what that feels like. But those women showed up and they did that. Prayed the devil back to hell. So sisters, let's pray the devil back to hell. But let it begin with us. And so it be.
Ashe, thank you so much, Elder Ida. That was so beautiful as you were speaking about us going out and asking creation to recognize me, recognize us. I was hearing, do I recognize creation? Do I recognize me? So these questions, and then, yeah, just so much coming in. Thank you so much. I'll just let's everything that you have said and the sounds that you have made that often go beyond words. We forget that we don't always have to use words. There are chants, there are sounds. We call it kululu in Hebrew. I know that some of the American natives call it lilying, where you go, you know. So we have these sounds. We have the ability to cry, to scream, to shout when we are in a safe place where no one may think you're crazy. You can do that. And often as adults, we don't do that. As children, we do, but we forget. And yeah, there's quite a few thoughts about the language, beneath words, beyond words. And as you were talking about the universe and you and I are one, I suddenly noticed the word universe begins with you and I. You and I. And what our verse could be. So thank you for all of that. And Catherine, can we hear from you?
Kia ora, man. I'd like to build on this idea, this concept that we are co-creators, you know, because it's said that there are different kinds of minds that the human being, and we're being, every moment we're being something, that the human being has access to. You've got the, you know, the brain organ that has the intellect kind of mind. You've got the heart organ, which has the feeling kind of mind. You've got the gut organ that has the instinctual, intuitive kind of mind. And they all bring something to the table to have this whole, like, it's like they're having a conference all the time. If you're participating in that conference, oh boy, you get access to so many different dimensions of reality. So, you know, it kind of begs the question, you know, are you more or less one or the other? Is there a part of you that you could amplify your access to? We're playing a rhetorical question game now. I think the answer, people can feel into it, or they instinctively know, or if they logically think, yeah, I know I'm more this kind of mind than that kind of mind at times. But the big idea there is, if we're coherent with all those kinds of minds, you'll be able to reach your potential. You'll be able to compress time, as it were, and really create your potential faster, you know. And another idea that I had when I was listening was, language is great, obviously. It communicates data. And there are many kinds of languages. So how many languages do we speak? How many languages, more importantly, do we listen to and understand? And our listening itself is very important. Part of our listening, I believe, is in the knowing about our life purpose, like it's been spoken of. If you have a context for your listening, that will affect how you interpret and how you give meaning to the language that you are receiving. You know what I mean? So part of my context for listening is my life purpose, and I see everything through that lens, pretty much. And so my life purpose it's on the spectrum of, because day to day it might change, when, you know, the specifics of how I articulate it might change, but fundamentally it's being in the highest, you know, the service of the highest good of all. It's a life purpose that's outside of me, way bigger than me. It's the best life purpose is when you are positively impacting others in a way that respects their life purposes and their freedom and why they are here. You know, you don't want to go, it's like the Star Trek, what's that protocol they have? You go out there and you do whatever the Star Trekky people do, but you don't interfere in other people's self-determination. Like Ia was saying, we all have that. It's a divine, you know, characteristic given to us. We are self-determining. We have that freedom. So, you know, our Māori word for life purpose is, one of them is kaupapa. Ka is the activator. U is to grasp something. Kau. Papa, remember? Pa is our word for like touch. Papa amplifies, gives a transcendent meaning. It means connect. So kaupapa is that which connects you. And boy, if you want a life expansive kaupapa, you find that connection, which is the most expansive you can possibly imagine, and your life will be so much more. You know, so see, I see, you know, every like scenario, situation, experience that comes to me that, you know, I'm blessed to be experiencing. It's all through, I interpret that as like, oh, how can that, what is the opportunity for me to optimize how I am being so that I can do, and then I or others can have. That's my kaupapa. That's my, you know, mission. So I just encourage all of us to, you know, reflect on what your kaupapa is. Maybe tweak it a bit if you feel you can optimize it, you know, and then observe how, you know, your life might shift from that. So that's, I guess that's what I, yeah, wanted to say. And as
Thank you, Catherine. I'm sorry, Kumu Sabra will have to leave very, very soon, and we need to hear from her. So,
perfect.
I'm sorry to.
I pulled one card. I'll just finish with this: new beginnings, as I do. And I hope that encourages us to, like, for today to be a new beginning in some way. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Mahalo, Catherine. Mahalo. I wanted to very briefly explain that there is a Hawaiian chant that's 200 lines long that speaks of the beginning of life. I'm only going to do the first part for you. I'm sitting here at the beach. It has been raining, but it's dry right now, and I hope the rain doesn't come. So our creation chant is called Kumulipo, and it speaks of Wakea, the Sky Father, who comes in the form of a white light from the darkness. Wakea mates with Papa, the Earth Mother, and forms all of us. It forms Ku, it forms Hina, the goddess of the moon. It forms Kanaloa, the god of the sea, Kane, the god of water, and Lono, the god of plants and life. So the beginning goes like this. E Wakea, e Papa, e Yana Mo'upuna, e Ku, me Hina, e Kane, a Kanaloa a Lono. Na amakua I ka pō, na amakua I ke au. Eia na o iwi. Eia no na maka o ke ko'olau. Na maka ke ko'o o na pua o Hawaii nei. Na pua hili le pa'a o na hui I kaikai ke kūpono. He pono ka lehi I leia mai. Ke lehi mai la na piko o la hoku lei. Eia no ka hoi ai. So in a time when the earth was covered with darkness, this light came from the heavens, the light of Vakea. Va meaning reverberating, Kea meaning white light. The reverberating white light came from the heavens and mated with the earth, which is called Papa, the Earth Mother. And oftentimes we have, I usually hold a gourd, an ipu, a container with my children when I tell this story. And after this mating, all of these gods were born, gods and goddesses were born. And today we continue to honor those gods of the ocean, those gods of the mountains, those gods of the winds, those gods of heaven and earth. Particularly, we have great consideration, and because of our fires on Maui, our horrible fires on Maui last year, the god Kane, who comes with the rain and the water of life. So this year, at the end of every school year, we have a festival to celebrate Hawaiian culture. And this year, our theme is Kawaiʻola, the water of life. And so all of the songs that we have and the chants that we have the children do are connected to the importance of water in life. And I know wherever you live in the world, water is of great importance. When I hear the stories of what's going on in other parts of the world, ooh, it troubles me. It concerns me because without water, we have no life. So I hope that for each and every one of you, you are blessed with an abundance of clear, cold, running water that you can drink, that you can feed your family, that you can grow your plants with. And I ask Keakua's blessing on each and every one of you. Mahalo Keakua no na mea apa. I thank the Creator for all of you and for the good work that you do. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
Mahalo, Kumusebra. And thank you for the work that you do and the wisdom that you are transferring to the new generations and the way that you go about it and keep going about it. And it's just when you were telling about how the Creator made it with earth and then all of the different gods were born, I suddenly saw them as parents. The God that is like parenting the mountain, parenting the water. And it makes sense that they have these different focuses as all of our elders were talking about. What are we, each of us, responsible to create, to co-create with creation, to parent, to care for, to protect that which we each love. And I feel that wisdom in the Hawaiian and the essence of the aloha, even in your creation story. So thank you so much for mahalo for bringing this into the circle, and may your blessing hit the waters in us and around us and beyond. Mahalo, mahalo. Thank you so much. And we will let you go to the next generation to enjoy you.
May the waters of life flow. Aloha.
Aloha. And Deanna, can we hear from you?
Thank you. Thank you, Auntie Sabra and Ia and Catherine and Celine. I am touched by the stories of creations and by all that you said, and I want to bring the aspect of language into here. Because those stories of creations of the gods and goddesses are told through stories. And stories are told in a certain language, and language shapes consciousness. And I come from a land where there is blatant difference between how life and death is described for people of the Jewish tradition and people of the Palestinian tradition. There is, I'm going to go there now because it's painful, but I want to speak that. So when our people are killed, murdered, often you'd hear on the radio, "Matzuet motam," they found their death. They went along and they found their death. Whereas when it's a Jewish person, they are murdered if they're killed by someone not on the road or by natural causes. So that language, the language that we use is manipulative or can shape political ends, political views. The language that we use can shape reality for our children. And it's painful to hear, and it's something to be mindful for, because the creation is not happening in a vacuum. Creation happens within a language. And I want to draw our attention to it. I want to tell a funny story of a good friend of mine who noticed that the way she speaks to her child, she's an Israeli living here in the United States, and the way she speaks to her child is a completely different way of being. A different parent comes out of her when she speaks to her child in English or when she speaks to her child in Hebrew. So she noticed that she wanted to say to her child, who was 2 or 3 at the time, that there is no more TV. So in English, she was very calm. It's time to go to bed. We have to go have a bath now. I'm going to turn the TV off, and we're going to watch TV a little bit more tomorrow. And it's night TV time. In Hebrew, I know a few of you there. I see Tami Ben Shmuel, Shaul, And Yael, maybe there are others that understand, but I'm inviting you to understand not the words, but the gesture of that comes through the language. So that's how she explained to her son in English. When she spoke Hebrew to him, she said, זהו, יאללה, גמרנו, אין יותר טלוויזיה, הלילה, למיטה, למיטה. You can hear the energy of the language being differently, conveying a complete different way of being, a complete different parenting style, a complete different personality. So to what extent are we shaped by our language? I know that when sometimes I come home from visiting with some Israeli friends and my partner says, you're no longer with your Israelis, you don't have to be so contrary anymore. And I realized that I'm still really being, because we had heated discussions and heated conversations, and I carry that with me into my home when I come home. So those of you who speak more than one language can realize that different parts of you are brought out by the language that you choose. Different parts of you, even if you're only speaking one language, what words are you choosing to speak to your children? What words are you choosing to speak to yourself? What words are you choosing to speak to the world? And what message do they convey? And I'm reminded of the realization, I reading an article once about the realization that horses in captivity that are born in captivity, when you open the gate of their enclosure, they wouldn't run away because the concept of freedom is not there. There is no concept of freedom. I think in 1984, in the book 1984 by Orwell, I think he was speaking about taking the concept of freedom out of the dictionary. So if we don't have a word for freedom, we can't fight for it. We can't fight for freedom if it doesn't exist in our language. And if it doesn't exist in our language, it does not exist. So what exists in our language? What are we shaping? What creation are we shaping with our words? Inviting us to just explore that. It's a very potent exploration, and it's a double-edged sword. It has potential to create worlds and destroy worlds, the language. So thank you.
Thank you, Diana. And I want to look at it from maybe the opposing side of no words. Because like when I was a child and I was asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never had an answer. And to this day, I can't really have a word for what I do. Or think of someone that wanted to imagine world and build games before there were computer games. Like when we were children, computer was just coming in. So think of a child that wanted to be what we now call a webmaster. You didn't even have a word for it. And so going back to creating, I think often with words, we are reacting and not creating. I found myself going into patterns, and words would just come in a certain way, like in an inertia rather than being created. And I felt that they're not communicating, but becoming barriers. And at some point, I just felt they are so misleading that I just let go. And for, I think it was 48 hours, I didn't speak. I listened and abstained from words. And I think it brought me back to choosing. When I came out of it, I was choosing my words rather than not even noticing what I'm saying, how it lands. And also, I didn't want words to come to me that much. And what happened was my family members got tired of trying to, when they asked me something and I would pantomime the answer, it was so tedious because she's not speaking. So we'll manage without her. And so they started communicating more between them, which was something that I was trying to help do with words, and it didn't work. And suddenly, by taking myself out of the equation, so much was happening, so much more harmoniously. And so I'm from the people of the book, the Hebrew people. And I'm married to a man where are considered superfluous and even dangerous. And so they don't use words very often. And when they do, I told him, you're like hunters, even with words. You aim for the mind and the heart to cause as least suffering as possible and as much effect as possible. Which is, to me, very different than, I told him, you are the people of the sea lions. This is your animal. We are the people of the book. Our animal is made of words. So I'm living, between these worlds, and trying to find the balance. I was talking about the balance of truth. But I offer to you to try and, bring some attention and some light to the words that you choose to use or not use. And try different languages. Even if you speak one language, we all have body languages that we use and other things. And as Catherine was saying, what languages do you listen to and how do you listen? Not only to the words, but to that which is said beneath words, without words. And I am beginning to hear, plants and the earth, and I'm inviting you to open up to listening, not just with your ears. I think that's an interesting journey that was also one that we took here today in some ways. And so I am very thankful. We'll give now about 2 minutes for our audience to put your sharings in the chat box. And we invite you to use it as potluck dishes. Take in what nourishes you. Do not take in what doesn't. You don't have to put something if you don't feel called to. And after that, Elder Ia, you will help us close. So 2 minutes of silence and written words. Thank you. I'm realizing I first spoke about the need to let go of words, and then I'm inviting words. So welcome to the contradictions that the womb so beautifully teaches us we can hold. And with that, Elder Ia, can you help us close?
All right. Good afternoon. First I want to apologize for not being here at the beginning. To my fellow elders. I think when you get the job of elder, you don't know where you're going to be. Sometimes it's best to show up. So anyway, I showed up. Thank you. I love this conversation of creation because I love to talk from the voice of creation. It's one of those things that we don't. I think that we think that Creator thinks like we think, and that we miss the whole idea of creation. Creation, you know, when one of my elders said to me, creation, all it knows is to create. And I had to really work with that, what Creator knows. Like Creator creates. So, and they say, well, creation gave us free will. Yeah, creation gave us free will. Well, what does that mean? We can use that free will to look at how we want to grow now and balance the world that's in our place, because we are the elders who have had the time to live through these different dimensions in our lives. Some of us live born into families of trouble and tragedy, but my God, we have the capacity to interpret that into something more beautiful. I'm just in awe at the possibilities of us as women today and our daughters, what we can, that baton we can pass on to our daughters and our offsprings and to our children's coming in. I'm just so in awe about that. And I want our hearts to feel that beat, that stand in the middle of that water, stand in the middle of that ocean, and breathe in that co-created experience that you're in today. Let us see if we can breathe that in. And when I learned that even the language that my ancestors used, sometimes they used it to interpret where they were in the world. And so it feels to me creation is saying, okay, you need an upgrade now. You need to be able to interpret where you are and translate where you are and my impulse is. You need an upgrade. So everything is about an upgrade. Can you discern what that upgrade needs to look like inside to yourself? Become the all AI intelligence of your ancestors. I changed an AI into AI as the intelligent ancestral intelligence. Can we step into the AI, the ancestral intelligence of our time, and upgrade that AI intelligence? Because the external world that shows us the it side and shows us a polarity between those two worlds. Where are we? How can we stand in that middle passage and walk and then glean what we need right now on this planet? So I want us to dream bigger than ourselves, bigger than our pains, greater than the war. Dream that dream that you want to manifest through its created impulse. And tell the universe what you're creating and see how the universe began to conspire with you to be these wonderful co-creators on the earth right now. I invite you to play with this. Maybe just play with it from this moon time to the next moon time and play with it within yourself and see how creation wakes up inside of you, inside of your womb space, inside of the womb space of creation itself. And imagine that womb space in creation. I would like for you to just hold your hands together and feel how wide and how vast that created space is. Just feel that created space right now in yourself. Just feel that and feel the vastness of it. And allow yourself to fall into it as if you've fallen into that blanket or the arms of your mother itself. Just feel that. And fall back into it and look up in it and look down in it, in that well of creation, and see the vastness of how the two connect itself. And all these elemental forces, just see how you connected to all of that. And this, my darling sisters, is what we have to work with today. Just to remember that we are the co-creators. And we can dream a world bigger than the limitations we place on ourselves. It's greater than us. We are that impulse. We are that spark. And so I want to leave you with that today, to know that you are the spark. You are that. You're that dream which you waited for. So now dream it bigger. Hum it out into the world in your daily prayers, in your daily work, in your daily walk. Pause. Slow your pace down and breathe her in. And let's be in gratitude together. And I love you so, so much. So, so much. And that we show up here because we feel that this is our time to shine. This is our time to shine and to remember what it was that we forgot, what it was that we knew how to hold. And maybe we're just learning it. I don't know. But I feel like we knew this in our ancient texts. We know this in the AI intelligence of our ancestors, our ancient ancestors. Somewhere we knew this. So I invite each one of you this week, as we go out and wait and come together in the next ceremonial space, that we just practice this, widen that space and imagine that created space we want to invite love, joy, happiness, acceptance onto planet Earth. And that we are extending this to the generations to come, the unborn generation. Let us walk and leave a planet that's better than we found it. And so it be, my darling sisters. So it be. Ashe, ashe, oh. Ashe, ashe, oh. I love you. Blessings.
Love you, Elder Ia. Thank you so much. I love loading the word A or the letters AI with ancestral intelligence. It reminds me, like, when you all were talking, one of the things that came to me that when I say for me, can I think for Mother Earth? So me becomes Mother Earth. Can we think that? Can we load the words that we know with something new or fresh or, secret? We can have different codes, even to old things. So thank you for all of these reminders. This has been a wonderful co-creation. Any encounter is a co-creation, and this was a very rich one. So thank you to all of you who helped us listen and co-create this and invite the words that came today and the unspoken that also came today. And see you next time. Toda rabba. Shukran. Shalom.
Shalom. Love you, love you.
Love you. Diana, you're muted. Bye. She said bye. Thank you to our community. And thank you, Michelle and Alma, for supporting us technically.